Hello, and how are you? Welcome to my session on evolution of gender mainstreaming. My name is Winnie Barawa. If you're new, this is a class or a lessons or a YouTube channel that focuses on lectures, lessons, and interviews pertaining to healthcare. And if that is your area of interest, kindly don't forget to subscribe and be part of these lessons all the way to the end. So we have introduced the concepts of gender mainstreaming. We have checked on the various aspects of significance when it comes to gender mainstreaming and its importance, and even the various level of entry levels that you can start on gender mainstreaming. So in this session, I just want to focus on evolution of gender mainstreaming. How did this journey begin and how has it been taking shape until now that we are here in 2024? So first of all, we are told that the gender mainstreaming or the journey in gender mainstreaming began with the realization that men and women have different priorities, they have different challenges, and um, they face different constraints or needs. And with this, these priorities, differences, constraints tend to contribute to and affect differently the outcome of different projects. And it is therefore important that if you fail to address the gender issues, not only at the program designing implementation, it can lead to inefficient and unsustainable results. This inefficient and unsustainable outcomes is what tends to exacerbate inequalities, what you're saying, gender inequality. And from the significance, we've been told that gender mainstreaming target is to promote gender equality and eliminate discrimination. So what are some of these aspects of gender that are very present and can easily be exemplified? For example, looking at table banking, an instance here in Kenya, between men and women, it's being said that the way men handle financial approaches is different between how women handle it. And if you introduce table banking, or there's a project that introduced table banking in men, and it was said to have flopped or they did not work because men do not approach financial from a societal or communal approach. They prefer saved in financial institutions or in credit facilities. But for women, they have a communal approach, and table banking approach tends to work more effectively with that particular gender. Now, this seemed to have emphasized more that men and women have different priorities and they have different constraints. Therefore, they will view projects and they will view solutions differently, or they will view the interventions differently. And it is for this that we are told, as we develop different designs, different projects, different interventions, it is key that we put in mind all these priorities. So how did the journey of gender mainstreaming begin? So in the 1970s, there was the first approach that was done to combat gender discrimination, and that was to promote more of women empowerment. And this was what was called to be Women in Development Approach, or WID. So this approach was started in 1970s through the international communities to help address the gender issues that was said to be a historical injustice to the women. And so this this approach tended to focus more on the women, and the program were introduced purely to assist with development and empowerment of the women. However, or the unfortunate bit with the women in development approach was said that it did not really meet its agenda, because instead of women being mainstreamed and being integrated, in fact, women ended up being sidelined and marginalized. So we were told that women in development approach did not address or did not change the unequal gender relations that were present in the social and the economic setting. I think the approach women development approach had was it had a seclusive approach whereby it dealt with only one gender alone and eliminated the other. So with this in mind, I think it propagated more discrimination than it was trying to eliminate. So with this at all, the approach was focusing purely on women and it did not include the men. And so the effect of this approach was it was not that successful. It brought more sidelining and marginalization of women, and the social and economic change that the approach was aiming to do was not met. So what was the way to go? Now they developed a new approach to help in combating this women discrimination or the imbalances that were existing in the society. And so what was it? It came up with a new approach that we call gender and development approach. If you're new on this channel, just go to the uh, playlist on my link or on my bio, the playlist on gender and sexuality, and we have a whole video done on gender and development. So this approach was started in the 1990s upon failure of the women in development approach. And so the target was to focus more on gender division of labor, roles, and relations. So what gender development approach did, it focused on reducing the gender inequalities by promoting more men participation and looking at developmental aspects in the society. So what impact did gender development have? Gender development, the impact it had is that it involved both men and women, and so it brought in mutual participation between men and women, such that they could both benefit from the control of the project and resources. However, it shifted the focus from looking at women only, but worked on blending the relations between men and women. And because of this, it was able to achieve economic, political, social, and even cultural equality between the genders. So it succeeded in reducing gender inequality. So as a result, there was reduction in gender discrimination in the social, economic, political, and cultural setting, and there was now generally achievement of the gender equality. So the gender development has been in play for actively for, I think, for the longest now, since the 1990s, and it has been treated to be one of the most active and impactful of the two approaches. So going forward, we are told that more institutions took in more comprehensive approaches to incorporate gender and development. And so they incorporated gender analysis, they took in they took in designing and development of interventions that took into account the needs and situations of both men and women. So it became more gender inclusive, it became more gender focused, and so there was a lot of inclusiveness, empowerment, equality, and so both genders felt safe and secure into each other. So that was the advantage of of the gender and development approach. It incorporated gender analysis. It ensures that both genders were part and parcel of the development, and so there was a balance in terms of equality in the arenas of social, economic, political, and even in the cultural imbalances. So with this, there was now balancing of inclusion, equality, empowerment, security, and safety in the genders. So, in summary, this is how the evolution of gender mainstreaming happened. It's began in the 1985 with the first concept introduced, that is trying to promote equality and believing that gender mainstreaming should promote empowerment, transformation, and integration of gender perspective in our development arena. And by 1995, there was further development in gender mainstreaming, that is bringing in gender development, and it was done in the United Nations Fourth World Conference on Women. Then in the Beijing Declaration or Platform, there was now promotion on active and visible policies that worked on mainstreaming gender perspective. So the work has been a journey all the way from 1980s to 1995 through the UN Conference on Women, and then the Beijing platform came in and now emphasized that policies should actively and visibly put into place aspects that are gender active or gender transformative and are putting in place issues affecting both genders, that is men and women. And as a result, there was now active integration of gender issues in our policies, in our project at the different level, and that is at the legislative level or policy level, was it at the project level or any other level of entry that the gender mainstreaming was being done. And so thank you so much for staying with me to the end. Don't forget to share, comment, and subscribe if you're a returning subscriber. Thank you for always considering our channel as part of your learning platform. Until we meet again in our next class, bye.